Alright, YouTube, here we go. These are the ingredients that you will be needing to create curry shrimp. We have some green onions, aka Jamaican call them scallion. We have some regular onions here. This is a yellow onion, not a purple onion, preferably yellow onion for when you're making curry. We have lemons here that we're going to be cutting up and juicing into shrimp because any meat we use, we wash, okay? So we're gonna take the lemon juice to wash the seafood. We have our black pepper, Scotch Bonnet pepper, our better pack curry powder in our black pepper old bottle, the Jamaican way. And we have some good old Himalayan salt here. We have our potatoes that we're going to clean up and dice up the way that we need. And to top it all off, whole jeera. A real coolie way. All right, you ready? Stay tuned. All right, everyone, here we go. We got our shrimp. We got our potato prep. We got our scallion. We have onions. We have garlic. We have Scotch Bonnet pepper. The shrimp has been washed with lemon juice and ready for its seasoning. We won't be putting these seasoning directly in the shrimp, just a small amount. And once again, that's going to go directly into the curry because when you're currying shrimp, it's done a little bit different than when you curry everything else. You're going to curry the potatoes first. That's the most important part. All right, so we sprinkle a little bit of seasoning there. We got everything, and then we're going to sprinkle a little bit of garlic in there too. Pop, pop, pop. And we're going to go ahead. All right, we're going to use a half a tablespoon of salt. It's always better to have a little bit less because you can't remove it than to add a little bit too much because once you put too much, it's a done deal. We're going to do the same with the black pepper. Half a tablespoon of black pepper. And then we are going to mix this up just so that that can sit on the side and start getting some of the flavors that it's going to absorb from the curry that we're going to be working on next. All right, everyone. Make sure you see, mixing up the salt, black pepper, shrimp. Beautiful. I'm going to put that to the side. All right, everyone. Now we are moved from the seasoning area to the cooking area. We have our shrimp sitting on the side, already pre-seasoned with a light seasoning, the salt, black pepper, tablespoon, again, and a whole tablespoon for the curry. But one other important thing for the curry is to boil water. We have boiling water, which I am going to be mixing with the curry. Before you cook any curry, to get that nice rich curry taste, look, and flavor, you need to scald that curry. So we're gonna get this pot up to heat. We have a good old cast iron skillet right here. It's one of the best buys. It's lasted me years and it works for true Jamaican cooking when I want to get that thing and hear the good sounds of cooking. All right, everyone, here we go. We have our potatoes, we have our onions, our scallion, our Scotch bonnet, our garlic over here, and the pot's coming up to temperature. Before we do anything, we need this pot to be really, really hot. We're going to turn the fan on low so you guys can hear me. We already have the light on, and now you can see this pot already getting hot. We're going to adjust this to medium, mid-level, and we're going to add some oil because this is a cast iron pot. It holds the heat. We're going to add some oil now, and in that oil we're going to throw some of them garlic. We're going to take about half of those garlic, throw some of those in there, and if you do like the flavor of Scotch Bonnet, you could also take a few Scotch Bonnet, throw that in there too. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to scald that garlic and that Scotch Bonnet pepper with the curry. So as it's there frying, we're going to get a smaller pot or a container, whatever you choose. I like to use a tiny pot that has a handle. My mom taught me this trick. And we are going to take the curry over here, and we're going to get our measuring spoon right here while that is getting nice and dark. See, that's browning. You got to make some speed to that. Put a little haste in your step. And you're going to put a tablespoon and a little bit more in there. There you go. We could actually do 1.5 tablespoons. So let's take a 1/2 tablespoon. All right. 1.5 tablespoon right there of curry. Don't want that to burn. We're going to now throw into this so that way that sucker does not. Throw some jeera in there right before. Want the jeera to burn because it's going to have a bitter taste. And then we're going to scald that curry. And you got to stir constantly when you put it into the hot oil until it becomes in that paste form. And once it reaches that paste form, if the oil is hot, it almost happens instantly. Put a little more water, get the rest of that curry. And if you can see, it's going to form that pasty look. It's going to separate from the oil, and it becomes its own curry paste. And then we are now going to do the total opposite of what you ever done with curry. And we are going to throw the seasoning in this curry. And in that curry, adjust that back up to about 3. And we are going to now curry up this beautiful seasoning right here. Let that fry down just a little bit. Then the potatoes are going to also be what you curry first. The last thing you are going to be putting in today is actually the shrimp, because shrimp cooks the fastest. The potatoes actually take a lot longer than the shrimp to be cooked. So we got everything is inside of there. You should hear that sucker still kind of frying. So we got it on medium heat. We're going to get this out of the way. And remember, I told you we're not getting rid of these yet. So once that potato and everything is nicely in there, and it's doing that fry up to get that nice rich curry flavor and no seasoning in that potato. I'm going to take black pepper. Half a tablespoon, not teaspoon, sorry guys. Half a tablespoon of black pepper again. And then we're going to do a half a tablespoon of salt again. Altogether this meal takes 1 tablespoon of salt. You can always add more depending on your liking. We're doing exactly 3 bags of shrimp from Walmart. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have this potato cook itself. We're going to add a little water and we're going to cover it. And we're going to have the potato cook down and become that nice thick consistency that we like. we're not going to cover this fully. And we're going to add a little water to it right here. Put that over there. You can add cold water or hot water. I'm just after hot water here. I'm just going to add a little from the kettle. Adding a little water to it, then we're going to stir it. Always continuously stirring, making sure that nothing is sticking. You look when I'm stirring, nothing is sticking at all. Because this is curry, you don't want it to burn or stick, or it's going to have a bitter taste. So you want to make sure you continuously check on this pot. My wife's favorite thing to do, continuously stir. She loves when she's cooking and she gets to be in a pot and be over here doing a little thing. That's her favorite thing to do, guys. So we are actually done with the black pepper and the salt now. So we're going to get these things out of the way. We have extra Scotch Bonnet, just in case it doesn't have that kick. My family loves that kick. My youngest son nickname is Scotchy Red Dot because he took a whole Scotch Bonnet pepper at 8 years old and bit it like a cherry. Still, the shrimp sitting on the side over here. And remember, we're going to continuously check on this pot right here to make sure that it's not sticking. See? Let's turn this down. Let's adjust it to about 2. I took it a little bit too fast. Keep stirring, make sure you don't stick because it's potato and curry. And as it's cooking, the same rule applies as when you're boiling potatoes. You're going to be checking the biggest pieces of potato in this curry to make sure that those pieces are cooked. While you're dealing with the potatoes that you put in there, you cut them at various sizes. You're going to have smaller ones and moving up to almost slightly the size that you would find in your curry, about a chunk about that big. That would be the bigger slices. And then we have smaller pieces that are like that big and thinner pieces. By you doing that, you allow them to cook before the others that are bigger that are going to be remaining for the shrimp. And that makes that thick paste without adding any cornstarch or any additives to it. The natural way to get your gravy thick without anything, we're using the potato starch. We're using the potato itself. It's slowly breaking down, and as it's breaking down, we're going to keep adding water, keeping it to that pasty form. We don't want it to get watery, we want it pasty, okay? Keeping it pasty is very important, and also keeping enough moisture that it's not sticking at the bottom. You don't want to overwater it either because the shrimp itself is going to shoot out water. So this is going to be cooked in no time. So by you not covering it too sealed, leaving a slight crack. See, I have the bumps here. This pot cover is not the actual pot cover for this wok. This is my favorite pot to use, even though it's a mix match. It's just the one that I love the best. My wife always gets upset at me. You have so many pot sets with covers on them. This doesn't work the same for my dishes. So I take this and I will catch it right here, and it has that opening around the side. So therefore the moisture is also being evaporated and not too much, not too fast, still getting condensation on the pot and drained back in to replenish that moisture while it's cooking. Alright guys, checking as we go, making sure it's not sticking, constantly stirring. See, gotta get underneath there, you don't want it to stick or burn. And that's making that gravy thicker. Whoa, that was up really high. I don't know how it got up that high. Alright guys, I must have bumped it a while ago when I walked by. Alright. Alright guys, here we go. And you don't gotta rush cook this. See, we got a timer actually going in the background. My wife is making her famous corn pudding. If you get a chance, please stop by her page. I will put the link down in the description, okay guys? And you will be able to see her first baking on her baking playlist. and she's making Jamaica's, my mother-in-law, world famous corn pudding. And the crazy thing is, I never even knew this exists until I had it from my mother-in-law. Now it's one of my favorite dishes to go alongside every Jamaican dish. So please look in the description, you will see the link. Her page is Craft Time, please, with a K, Craft Time. You gotta check this out. So watch that timer, guys, because that timer is also tied to another video you will see in the description. Thank you. So right now, back to what we're doing here. We're gonna make sure we adjust this. It's more a little bit, I'm cooking a little too fast, but we got that. You see it's getting thicker from the starch of the potato. Look at that, nice thick gravy. That's how you want your curry shrimp to look. You don't want it to be watery. You don't want no watery curry shrimp. You ever go to the restaurant, they serve you some curry shrimp and it's so watery and doesn't look like the true, you know, the way my grandmother, my mother makes it. Or better yet, my father. Boy, all of them got their style. But my father makes a super spicy, fire down curry shrimp. Mommy, Dad, there's no competition. But each of you have your own special way. Now we got it right here. Let me clean as you go. When you're working with curry, guys, always have a cloth close by, handy, a napkin, lightly sprayed with a little bleach. You want to make sure that you're wiping up the curry as you're going and as it splash, because it does stain. And you see today I am wearing my original Chef J apron because we are working with curry. And this is an addition to my collection from These Crafting. Please check her out too. Here we go, cleaning up right here. I will put a link for her page too in the description. YouTube coming soon. Here we go, guys. We keeping it going. As you see, we keep stirring, making sure nothing is sticking. I hope you're getting a nice clear view of the pot. There's nothing sticking in there. Nicely, nicely. And as it's cooking, you could actually tell that the other smaller potatoes are cooking and mushing out. The bigger ones that we want to remain are still right the way that we like them. So we gotta make sure we check the biggest pieces and see if they're cooked. And how do you check potatoes, everyone? Leave a comment down below if you know how we check potatoes before I do it. Oh, this is how we check potatoes. The same way you would when you're boiling potatoes. You take a fork and you choose the biggest one and you're gonna stick it and it slides right out. You saw that? A perfectly ready potato. So guess what? This curry, this whole thing is pretty much ready. The last thing we have to add right now is our favorite thing of all, and that would be the shrimp. All right, guys? We are going to adjust this heat one click up, because we're going to be adding our shrimp. Now we're gonna lay the shrimp right on top. There we go. Get that cleaned up. Make sure everything goes in there. And what we're gonna do before we even stir this shrimp in, we're just gonna spread it on the top. And we're gonna let the steam first shoot some water out of this shrimp. Now we're gonna close this pot properly this time, nice and sealed. And we're gonna add any more water. We're gonna readjust back down one. And then we're going to leave it for about 2 minutes or so and let it do its thing. While that heat steams that shrimp, it's gonna be shooting its own water. That water is the most impressive and the most delightful flavor of seafood you would ever need for your curry shrimp. You don't need to add any seafood flavor in because you already have the shrimp there. But we're going to get the natural water to be added to this without watering it down with our regular H2O. We're going to get the meat to do its normal work. And we're going to see how this one comes out. And I wish you were here to smell it. It smells delicious right now. All right. We got about 1 minute 30 seconds on there already. We're almost there. We're going to open it after 2 minutes. We don't see anything coming up. So the temperature is slowly acclimating and everything is getting to temperature in there. And the boil is probably coming up. We are going to adjust back one up when we open it, because we're going to stir this time and we're going to work that shrimp in to get that good flavor, good color, and to spread everything out so all the flavors can distribute evenly throughout the meal. All right, see we got a little boil going on there. That's how we like it. Put our pot cover down over there. And we don't want nothing sticking. See, that's why we adjusted the heat towards the end. There we go. And there we go, everyone. We put the shrimp in, and guess what? This shrimp is now going to do almost instantly. See, it needed a little bit of water, the paste a little thick. We added the shrimp. We didn't add any water to it. We're going to leave it just like this. Cover it back up and let the magic do its thing. Let the heat do its magic. Here we go. We're going to click this down to 2. Right there. So it does a slow cooker. Alright everyone. So we had that bubbling for a simple 4 minutes for it to get to a little boil again. While we stir one more time. We got to keep stirring because the same rule applies. We don't want it to stick underneath this. Until that meat shoots out all the water, it's liable of sticking because it's a thicker paste. So we're getting this paste thinned down with the nice juices that's coming out of our shrimp. See? There we go, everyone. Making sure nothing is sticking. Always try making sure you get to the bottom of the pot. Unless you're using a non-stick pot, which I have, my wife would tell you, but I just don't like using it for this. It just doesn't do the same. I like scraping the pot. I like making the sounds. It's just a whole, the enjoyment of cooking is just not going to be there when I use a non-stick for this type of stuff. This type of stuff you need to be knock, you know? It's the extra fun in the cooking. And we're going to adjust it slightly down some more because all the water is shooting. And wait the next 5 minutes and we'll be back again. Alright everyone, so now it's on low. It's been an extra 5 minutes and look at that, voila. Less than 20 minutes of cooking gave you some beautiful curry shrimp. Prep works about 15 minutes, altogether about a 45-minute deal, while you end up with the most delicious curry shrimp. And remember guys, this curry shrimp also has a wonderful smell that is following it and complementing everything about it, coming from the wonderful corn pudding. I would give you a sneak preview, but just stay tuned. Look at the description below. Click her video. Watch it. It's going to be great. You will see a picture of it on the final plate.